Ryan Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is a sweepstakes specialist and author. Taught others how to win over 1 million cash and prizes. No other than Miss Carolyn Wilman.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here because not only do I like to teach people how to win sweepstakes, I like to teach them how to win in life. And isn't it a wonderful feeling to help anybody feel better and feel like a winner any day of the week?
Definitely. I like that, Miss Carolyn. Teach me how to win 1 million and
No,
more.
I haven't even won a million. That's $1 million in cash and prizes over lots of people, not just one
Lots of
person.
people.
Sorry.
Okay. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about the writing process of all your books. So, tell us,
Yeah.
looking across all your books, can you trace the evolution of your core mission as a writer?
I can actually. I was inspired because at one point I was winning a lot of prizes, and someone said to me, "You should write a book." And I thought, great idea. And I read The 1 Minute Millionaire by Mark Victor Hansen, and it said you could write a book in 30 days and make $1 million. And that didn't happen. It took me 20 months to write the book and a lot of work and obstacles that I wasn't expecting, but I kept going. And that's a good lesson for any author is that it's never, life isn't a smooth ride, but you just keep going. You figure it out, you learn, and guess what? The next book will be even better. But the one piece of advice I got at the beginning of my journey that I keep passing on to this day because it's so good for any nonfiction writer is write out the table of contents and keep writing. So basically, give yourself a structure and keep writing. And one thing that I figured out along my path that I also like to share with others is you don't have to write the book in order. Like I've had people say to me, "Oh, I'm stuck. I can't figure out the foreword or the introduction." And I'm like, and I say to them, "Do you know what the middle chapter is?" And they go, "Yeah." I said, "So write that. And the rest will kind of unfold as you go along. So just figure that part out." Because there's no right or wrong way to write a book.
Yes, definitely. So, if you could place your books on a timeline of your own personal and professional growth, what does each one teach you about you were
Oh,
that moment in your life?
it's a lot. It's like one of those paths that goes like this. It's an arc. The first one came out, and I'm having a celebratory event next year because next year's the 20th anniversary of my first book. It took me 2 years to write the first one, and another 2 years to write the second one, and then 6 years to write the third one. And then there was a massive gap. No, not massive, and a 4 year gap. And that's when I started buying the rights to other people's works. And then it picked up. So I was putting out a couple of books a year because I was updating and editing. So now I'm up to 8 books with four um, four translated into Spanish. I'm working on French, Italian, and German, and 4 audiobooks. And it just seems to be speeding up because I might actually have 3 books published by the end of this year. And it's the second week in November.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, Miss Caroline. So, what is the most significant way your writing process itself has changed from your first book to your most recent? What did you have to unlearn?
I think as you move along as a writer, or at least this is what happened for me, it just got easier. And I can sit down now and I can just work on it and I don't want to say pump it out, but that's what it like the writing process is easier because I'm more comfortable with it after all this time. And I also have the good sense because sometimes I get so into my own head that I'm writing from my perspective that I forget to include the reader. And I have a good editor, and she'll point things out to me. I'll say, "Oh yes," and I'll have to rewrite it. But so that's what I do now. I just sit and write. I don't worry if it's good or bad. I just get it out, and then it's always edited and polished. But also, it's not as edited as it used to be because I'm getting better as a writer as I go along. And I think that a lot of writers find that it's like any skill in life. The more you do it, the better you get.
Yes, practice make you perfect. Doing it every
Well,
day
not
for
perfect, perfect.
sure. Yes, at least you're better than the first draft or
Yes,
first draft that you did.
absolutely.
So, is there a singular through line theme that connects all of your work? Something you perhaps did not even realize was there until you look back.
It's persistence. It's absolutely persistence. Persistence in the writing itself to keep going when it didn't feel like I could. Persistence in knowing that this is what I was supposed to do and how I was supposed to help people. Persistence in creating another book. Persistence in creating another business to make sure that the work got out to people. um, just persistence, like just keep going when the wind is at your sails and you're flying along. It's great, but you need that persistence when the wind is hitting your and the seas are rough and you got to keep going. That's when you need that persistence.
Persistence is the key, people, in everything. Do you have a non negotiable daily writing ritual that has held constant across every book? Or does your process intentionally adapt with a new project?
Actually, it's working. I'll say working on a book versus writing because so for example, the last week it's been editing, not the writing part. But to me, it's working on a book is something I do every day. But I also need to balance that with all the other things I'm doing, like all my social media marketing. I have to actually do the backbones of the business, like accounting. I sort all that out to go to the accountant. I still have to run the back. So I do something with the books every day, whether it be editing, writing. I do my marketing, and I do some of the backbone of the business. And then I also make sure I do something for the family and the household every day. Oh, and me, because then I usually go to the gym. So it's 5 things I do every day.
Five things. Wow, amazing, Miss Carolyn. So, how does the initial spark for a new book typically find you?
Well, the first spark that I had that started this whole long path was actually an article in Reader's Digest. And I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And it's true with
Why not?
anything
Yes.
that you put your mind to. My dad told me that when I was a kid. Anything you set your mind to, you can do. And he's not wrong.
Yes, definitely is not wrong. And how do you know when the idea is truly a book length idea, worthy of a year or more of your life versus a shorter
Oh,
piece of a passing through?
that's an interesting question because I was working on my own book I was struggling with. And then I picked up Helene Hatzel's books and I started working on hers, which were way more fun than mine. So I kept going, and now I'm knuckling down and getting back to my own project. And it is hard because it has sat for 5 years. I did everybody else's stuff but mine. because it was more interesting. And there's that where that persistence comes back, is that I'm just saying, nope, that's what you're working on. You're going to sit down, you're going to write that book, and you're going to get it out there because the people need it. People need to have more fun in life, and this is one way they can do it. So just get it out there.
Yes, definitely. Describe your relationship with the outline. Are you a architect or the other kind of writing or writer, I should say?
I would say more of an architect, because my books are nonfiction. I set out a structure of what I want to cover, kind of like a framework, right? Like you build a house, right? And
Yes.
then I go and I design each room, which would be each chapter. So it's definitely more an architectural style. I'm always amazed and admire any fiction writer, because it's an entirely different process where they have the arc, and they have character development, and they set scenes for people, and if they have multiple books, they need to thread them all together. I just think that is such an amazing skill that they have. I do not have that skill. I thankfully write nonfiction and just tell people what to do.
Across all of your characters, who was the most surprising to write and the one who emerged fully formed and thought you something you did not know you knew?
Well, actually, I would label all my the authors that I take care of, the characters of my life, because they've all gone, they've all passed, they're no longer with us, sadly. And Helene has to be the biggest character of them all. Tag was a character, but he was more like a knight in shining armor. But Helene was a bit of a court jester. She was funny and she was jokey, but she was highly intelligent. I think, had the social media like TikTok been out, um, and she was technically savvy, she would have the best channel, because she was a big ham and quite the character. She said, even in her book, she said she was a show off. So I could only imagine.
So, how do you approach the unique voice for each new project? Do you have a techniques
Mm.
for shedding the skin of the last book to the fully inhabit the next?
Well, I have a system. So I have all my books have a similar feel to them, so that there's a bit of consistency in my work. I do like to keep that. But I have to take each project on its own. So, for example, I have a structure that I like to use, and I used that on my last book that I published, which was Money and You. And then I got the author proof, and it looked terrible because um, it wasn't honoring the original book. And so I had to go in and I had to change all the formatting to more be in line with the original creation. And then I had it redone and it looked much better. And it was more of a nod to the original author. And so sometimes I have to pivot when it comes to not my own work. But
So, what's
that's
the
the thing,
most?
right? You try. I did it.
Yes.
It wasn't right. I changed it. It was better. Okay. I learned not to get so upset about things like that anymore.
So, what is the most challenging part of writing process for you? Is it the first
Just
draft, the structural edit, or the line edit?
no, just sitting my butt in the chair. No, seriously. I know that sounds like a cop out answer, but just getting myself to sit down and focus on the writing every day, whether it's editing, writing, formatting, something like just working on the book, just sitting here, because I'm a bit of a bouncy bee. I could be doing 14 things at once, and they're all more fun than writing. So I sit down and I say, no, no, you sit down and this is what you're going to do today. Even if it's for an hour, even if it's just an hour, just work on it. And then it's amazing.
Yes.
Once you get into the rhythm, then I look and I'm like, oh, I really want to finish this next chapter. Oh, I want to do this next thing. And then once you get going, I can usually sit for much longer, but it's just sitting my butt down to do it.
Is there a piece of bad writing advice you consistently ignore and a good one you consistently return to every single book?
Oh, the bad one is, um, why are you going to write? No one's going to read it. And
Hmm.
ignore that. There's always, even if you sold one book and it changed somebody's life, you never know. You never know where that path is going to go. So just ignore it. If you've got a calling inside of you that compels you, like you have to write, then that's the voice you follow.
So,
And
which
there's
book of
so much good writing advice out there. I don't even know where I'd begin.
So, Miss Carolyn, which book was the most difficult to write, and what was a specific nature of the struggle?
I'll tell you what book it is. It's the one I'm working on right now. It's prizes, prizes everywhere. And I had some major life changes when I had started it, and I got a bit discouraged. And then I picked up some fun projects, and then it just sat. And so coming back to it after all the time that it has sat, that is the biggest struggle, is to get back into that groove and get back into the rhythm. And I know once it happens, it's like getting back to the gym after you haven't gone for a while and you're achy and you really don't want to go, but you go anyway. It's the same thing.
So, Miss Carolyn, what are your short term and long term goals as an author?
Well, I am gonna do what Helene told me when she was actually intuitive, and she told me once I turn 58, I'm just gonna write, travel, and teach for the rest of my life. And I turned 58 in January, and so far she's not wrong. So that is my long term goal. She actually was updating her books right up until she passed away, and I plan to do the same. I never plan to stop writing, so I will write till I die. I don't know. Is that a good long term goal?
Yes, that's a good long term goal, Miss Caroline, for sure. And good luck to your goals. Looking forward for more and more empowering books like this to come. So, what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be an author like you?
Just do it. Just do it. There's nothing stopping you now. We are in an age of technology. And even if you can't type, you can do voice to text and then edit it after. So there's no excuse. Just sit down and write and get it out of your system. And then you can always find support to help you polish it into that book you've always dreamed of.
Yes. And thank you for that advice. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence you, Johnny?
Oh, for me, you know what? The ones that influenced me that I didn't write, there's two. One is the Silva Mind Control Method, and the by Jose Silva, and the other is Transforming Fate into Destiny by Robert Ohado. And neither of those are writing books, but they're mindset books and soul transforming books. And I think if you're going to be an author, you need both of those.
Yes, and thank you for that recommended books, Miss Caroline. And what is the entire body of your work taught you about yourself that you could not have learned any other way?
Oh, so many things. But I've learned that I'm better at some things than I ever thought, and others I learned I'm more terrible at. For example, I I am an author. I never thought this was a path I was going to take. So the world has opened up doors that I never expected. And as for, I had different editors. You pick better people as you go along. And that's what I've been doing better, is surrounding myself with, people that are more in line with what I'm doing and that are better trained in that area. And you've seen my writing improve as I go along. But that's like anything in life, right?
Yes, definitely. So, how do you know deep in your gut when a manuscript is truly finished?
That's a good question. I don't think, for what I do, the nonfiction, especially since some of the stuff literally changes. Like, from when I started writing it, I have to rewrite everything I've done because it's all changed. And I know that 5 minutes after I hit publish, something in the book is already going to be out of date. So I've learned I can't worry about that. I get it as robust as I can until I'm done the going through and the editing. And then I put a clause in there that says, hey, if something's out of date in the book, go to my website. I keep all the updates because technology is moving faster than we can blink. So you just need to finish it and let it go. And then guess what? If it changes so much, you can write a second or third or fourth edition.
Yes, definitely. So, Miss Carolyn, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in third season, I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101, love letters. Movie 101 Review, Music 101 are in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101, Mental Health 101, and my Bible Verses 101, Science 101, and Sex 101 in its second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Carolyn, if you could sit down for a conversation with the writer you were when you started your first book, what would you tell her about your journey ahead?
Well, I would actually like to go back in time and sit down with Helene Hatzel, the author that I'm maintaining her legacy, because I only spent 4 days with her way back in 2008, and she passed away in 2010. And I've learned so much more about her through her writings now that I've been working with her stuff for the last 5 years. And the questions I would ask her now are so different than what I asked her back in 2008. I would love an opportunity to sit down and talk with her again and all the get all new answers, because I'd have all new questions.
Miss Carolyn Wilman, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your books, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Well, you can go to wordsforwinning.com, and I have all kinds of free things for you there, and lots of free articles, downloads, audios, everything, not just books.
Not just books, people. So let's support Miss Carolyn Wellman because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Miss Carolyn, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you so much for letting me share my passion.
More to come, people. See you soon.